ready.
Okay, I'll introduce you and then it'll be all yours.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Hope you all are doing well. I just want to thank you all very much for joining us for Cultural Thursday. Cultural Thursday is CLC's monthly cultural literacy program where we invite people from around the world to help us better understand the diverse people and perspectives and places of our beautiful planet. My name is Jason Edens, and it's my privilege to coordinate the Cultural Thursday program here at Central Lakes College. And once again, I want to thank you and welcome you. It's also my privilege to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Jim Kirzeder. Jim is a Brainerd Lakes area resident, but he's probably spent just as much time in Haiti as he has in the Brainerd Lakes area. He has done a great deal of service work in Haiti, building schools, some hospitals, installing clean water infrastructure, and doing some clean energy projects. It's my understanding that he's been to Haiti more than 100 times over the course of his service, and so I hope you will join me in giving him a nice warm welcome. Mr. Jim Kirzeder.
Thank you, Jason. That was nice to be back here at the college that I graduated from 55 years ago. At that point, there was only one building here, that main building out there by the front entrance. That was the only building here at that time. Well, I'm going to get right into it because there's a lot of stuff to cover. Haiti, of course, is located on the island of Hispaniola. And you'll see it there in the middle. It's located between Puerto Rico and Cuba. And the western half of the island, or the 1/3 of the island, the western half is Haiti, and the eastern 2/3 is the Dominican Republic. The island of Haiti, or the portion of Haiti, is about 10,700 square miles. And there are 12.5 million people there. Minnesota, in contrast, just as a comparison, has 87,000 square miles. So it's more than 8 times bigger than Haiti, and we have about 6 million people. So you get an idea of the concentration of people there. I'm going to just give you a quick overview of the history. It's very complex and tragic in many ways, but it's what develops the culture of Haiti. And we need to understand something about the history to understand how we can work in that particular country. The history of Haiti begins in 1492 when it was discovered by Columbus. He landed there, and at that time it was inhabited by an Indian tribe called the Arawakan. They referred to the island as Haiti, and so that later on became Haiti. Columbus claimed it for the Spanish crown, and there were about 600,000 native people there at that time. As a Spanish settlement, there were many of those natives were annihilated or killed or died of disease during the next 200 years, and mainly because the Spanish used them as slaves primarily. So about 1697, Spain made arrangements with France, and it ceded over to France the western 1/3 of the island. And that is the part that became present-day Haiti. Many French settled there. A lot of adventurers from France settled there, and they turned the island into a coffee and sugar plantations. So at that time, Haiti was a very tropical island, lots of rainforests, lots of mahogany trees, very fertile soil. Things were great. Haiti was providing at one time 40% of the world's sugar and 60% of the world's coffee. That's how much it was being grown there on the plantations during the French occupation of the island. For a brief time, Haiti had a exportable wealth that was greater than that of all of the rest of North America. So its gross national product was greater than that of what was the United States of America at that time. So as the population of these indigenous people diminished, the French brought in roughly 800,000 African slaves. And that they were to do the work of the sugar and coffee plantations. So many died, and so many were that it is estimated that the population of slaves overturned every 20 years. That's how many people they brought in over the years. Over the next 100 years, the population of Haiti kind of went to four main classes. So you had the slaves, which were brought over from Africa. You had those who were born to the slaves, so they were still slaves. You had the mulattoes, those who entered into a relationship with the French and became kind of half white, half black. And you had the French. So you had those four classes. That's still true today. We still see that in Haiti today. Of course, the whites and the mulattoes are the ruling people. They're the wealthy of Haiti, and they still control pretty much everything. Because the slaves outnumbered the French by about 10 to 1, they rebelled. And after about 100 years of French rule, they overthrew the French and became an independent nation in 1804. So that's when the history of free Haiti became. They were the first free black governed country in the world, was Haiti itself. The French brought the slaves over from different warring tribes. They were very smart, so they went into Africa, and they went to different areas of Africa where the tribes were at. One tribe was at war with another, and they'd take slaves from this tribe, some from this tribe. They brought them over and settled them in different parts of Haiti so that they wouldn't get together, because they still had that kind of hatred and resentment of each other's tribes. That was how they kind of tried to control it. There's still remnants of that in Haiti today, even 200 years later. One city is opposed to another city. It makes it very difficult for democracy in those kinds of situations. Because of that, the next 100 years, until about 1915, Haiti descended into enormous chaos, because there was no outside government there. It was just the black African slaves that were governing it. They had all this resentments against each other. Went through a series of turmoil and all kinds of things. Economically and politically, it was just incredibly chaotic. There were many different leaders and all kinds of battles. There was all kinds of fighting going on. And because of this, the United States then sent in to Haiti in 1915, the Marines. The Marines came and they took over the country, and they remained there until 1934. So we're getting a little closer to the present day Haiti. Some of the best years of Haiti's life were in those years when our Marines occupied the country. It brought peace there, but they also built roads, hospitals, sewer systems, schools. All kinds of things were built there in that time. And they tried to set up democracy in that country at that point. Not too long after, in 1957, the elected president of Haiti at that time was Duvalier. You've probably all heard of him. He was called Papa Doc because he was a doctor. And he declared himself president for life. So Haiti went to a dictatorship away from the democratic government. His son succeeded him, Papa Doc. You heard of the term Baby Doc. And they ruled until 1986, not too long ago. During their reign, Haiti was completely devastated. The mahogany trees were cut and sold. The plantations were destroyed. Once the trees were gone in Haiti, they lost their topsoil. But it's kind of an estimate that over 80% of the topsoil of Haiti has been washed out into the oceans. So it became a land that was ransacked, basically destroyed as a country, and you start to see that. When you look at the map of Haiti, that the Dominican Republic on this side, and you see that border, you can see that from the air. because this side of the island has all kinds of trees and greenery and crops, and that side of the island is pretty much a desert completely. You can see that line going right down there. The difference was, of course, that the Dominican Republic had a stable government where Haiti didn't. So after Duvalier's regime was removed, free elections were restored once again. In the 1990, Aristide, you've probably all heard of him, he was elected the president in 1990. He had a 5-year term. Haiti's constitution said that the term was 5 years for president. They could be elected for 2 terms, but they could not be in succession with one another. They had to sit out a term and then be elected again. So he was elected in 1990. That's when I started going to Haiti, or a year before that. I was there during that election. The army, which was Duvalier's army, they were called the Tonton Macoutes. They, of course, resented Aristide greatly. He was a pretty brutal man. Didn't do much with the country other than continue the demise of it. They took over in 1991, so he was president for 1 year, and the army took over under General Cedras. So that's when we embargoed the island. I was working down there most of those years. During the embargo, there was literally nothing to buy in Haiti. We didn't even have toilet paper. At the hospital where we were, we had to use rags and wash them out and reuse them. That was how bad it got. It was a time of the greatest starvation in Haiti. We were losing 50% of the children that in those years before the age of 2 years old. In 1994, the U.S. came back into the country and restored Haiti. We kind of took over the country again. We banished General Cedras to Panama, and we had another election in 1995, and of course Aristide couldn't run, so Andre Préval was elected president. And then in 2000, year 2000, Aristide was elected again as president. Well, those same rebels that threw him out the first time were still in Haiti. So they took up arms again, and they captured most of the cities in Haiti, and they were just marching on Port-au-Prince in 2004. And our government went in and took Aristide out by a military aircraft, and the country is once again in the hands of the rebel army. In 2000, what happened then is the United Nations came in with troops to try and restore order as well, and they were there for about 8 to 10 years. In 2006 then, when they did have another free election, and Préval, Andre Préval, was elected again, and he was elected in 2006. In 2011, there was another election, and then they elected a man by the name of Michael Martelly. His name was Sweet Mickey. They called him Sweet Mickey. He was a rock star. He played guitar, and he did all kinds of stuff. He became president of the country. Those 5 years that he was president were not bad years. He did a lot of good things. And in 2017, because he couldn't run again, Aristide was banished. Préval couldn't run. He had already had 2 terms. Moïse was elected, and he was the president who was assassinated in 2021. You probably heard that on the news. So we're getting to modern-day Haiti. So today, Haiti is run by Ariel Henry. He's the acting prime minister. There's no functioning government anymore. The government has been disbanded. They had a House and a Senate. Nobody is functioning, just this particular prime minister. What's happened is that gangs have taken over the country. There are over 90 gangs there. Many of them are former military people. They operate primarily in the Port-au-Prince region. You can see that up there on the map. They kidnap people, they murder, they do all kinds of bad things. They hold people for ransom. You probably saw an article just several months ago of a group of 14 missionaries that were kidnapped, if you remember that. That took place. In July of this year, they took over the oil terminal in Haiti, which distributed all of the fuel for the country. For 5 months, there was no fuel in the country. That's just this year. But gas was selling on the black market for $30 a gallon. So we can't complain about our high price of gas compared to that. Everything was affected. Hospitals had to close, schools closed, transportation shut down. There was no communication because all the towers that they used for communication needed electricity, and that had to be produced by generators. There was very little water being pumped. There was no electric. Businesses closed. Food production was down. It was a terrible time in Haiti's history, and that's just this year. Schools are still not open this school year. There's only one school in Haiti that's open right now that I know of. Just a few weeks ago, in early October, the acting prime minister requested that to the U.S. that we would deploy troops to that country. You might have seen that article in the paper. On October 15th, just a little over a month ago, Mexico and the U.S. sent in armored vehicles and military equipment for the Haitian government to use to combat the gang activity. We didn't send any soldiers in, but we sent equipment and weapons and so on into the country. Just last week, the gangs were removed from the fuel terminal in Port-au-Prince, and fuel once again is available to the country. So it's starting to come back a little bit. Some commerce is coming back, and we're hoping that maybe some schools can start to open again pretty soon. So that's the history of Haiti. It's amazing. It's amazing history. It's a very tragic history, but it's still happening in the country today. The language and religion of Haiti kind of evolved. The slaves, of course, didn't want to adopt the language of the French, the spies, so they created a language called the Creole language. It's kind of a slang French. That's what they talk today. The religion, of course, they didn't want to accept the religion of the French people, so they created the voodoo religion. So that's where the voodoo come from. It was a rejection of the French religion, so it has some elements of Christianity in it, but it has lots of superstitions. All of you have probably heard at one time or another about voodoo and voodoo activity. That's still very prominent today in Haiti. Because of the chaos and uncertainty in Haiti today, the American dollar has, Haiti's money system, we'll get back to that, is the gourds. So it takes 5 gourds to make a Haitian dollar. 1 Haitian dollar, when I first started working there, equal 1 American dollar. Today it takes 22 Haitian dollars to buy the same amount of stuff that they could buy 30 years ago for $1. So that's the inflation that has happened in Haiti. They have little buying power, especially the poor, and especially because the average wage of the poor, the average income of the poor in many areas is less than $50 a year. Recently on a trip down there I was working, I hired some Haitian men to help me. And I asked them what they wanted for a wage. I was willing to pay them, obviously. And they got together and did a little discussion on the side, and they come back and said $7. I thought, well, $7, that's $7 an hour. That's really pretty reasonable. It was $7 a day. That's what they were asking for. $7 a day. That's the mentality of the people there, because they don't realize the modern day things that they could have. So unemployment in Haiti is still over 50%. The economy, what little economy there is focused around farming and gardening. So when I first went to Haiti some 35 years ago, like I mentioned, around 50% of the children were dying before the age of 2. mainly from diarrhea and starvation. I watched many children die over the years. I've held many of them in my arms when they took their last breath. It hasn't been all certainly fun and games working down there. But I'm going to show you now some slides about the work that we have done in Haiti, and that will help give you a little better idea of what it is, and then we'll do some question and answers so you can kind of move through this whole thing. I'll move through these fairly quick. You see that it's a little bit more of a close-up of Haiti. There's this area called the Central Plateau up there that I started, when I first started working in Haiti, I primarily worked there because that was the poorest area of the country. Down around Port-au-Prince, you had a little bit more stuff going on. You can just read that there quick, and then initially the immediate need was for medical attention for the Haitian people. You'll see on these slides, it's a little bit graphic in nature, some of these slides, but if it bothers you, just turn away for a second. This is a lady who had a tumor in her mouth. It would be unheard of in this country to have a tumor of that size and be taken care of. I ran into her in the marketplace one day, and she was surviving by shoving pieces of banana past that tumor into her throat to survive. I took some x-rays of her to hopefully be able to take a medical team down there, but she died before we could do that. This is another lady with a tumor on her neck. Again, something that you would never see in this country, but was very common there. And I'm not showing you the worst slides. These are ones that I thought you could, some of the worst ones are much worse. That's my hand there, next to the baby that was born while I was there, a low birth weight. I think that baby weighed less than 2 pounds, but very common in Haiti during those early years. This is another tumor that we removed from a lady who had that in her stomach. It was a 22 pounds tumor that was in her stomach. It was not a cancerous tumor, but again, a very common thing. This is a child we found in a dump in Port-au-Prince when we were working down there. This only lived for an hour or two after we found it. It would have been abandoned, probably didn't have parents, and it was abandoned. So that was a very common experience in those years. And this little girl here it looks like she's a burn victim, but what it is she's starving to death. And she did. I was there the night that she died. What happens is because they have so little nutrients in their body, their skin isn't able to be nourished, and it starts to fall off. So if you touch her, if I was to touch her on the arm, it would just peel her skin off. It's the terrible effects of starvation. Probably the worst death that you could ever experience is the starvation. It's not an easy thing for these people to go through. Animals also suffer down there. It says they haul stuff on them all the time, and many of them will have sores on their back from that. As you see these little kids here, the extended bellies are signs of malnutrition. They look pretty decent there, but of course, obviously, many of the kids have no clothes, so they're running around on the streets just like that. None of the little boys would have clothes, but the little girls will often have a pair of underwear or something on. Eventually, the focus shifted to housing and construction projects. When I first went down there, we were building hospitals to try and take care of all this backlog of surgeries and stuff. And we went down with many surgery teams to try and catch up with what was happening in Haiti. So there's just a fact of the matter, 58% of the population of Haiti live below the poverty line. This is a typical home in Haiti. I was down there one time, and a father that I got to know a family, and he called me and said that his wife had a baby. Or he came running across the cactus hedges and told me, and so I went running to his house. We were in just a drenching downpour. He had a house that looked worse than this. When I walked in there, I was standing in mud up over my ankles inside the home. Rain was coming in through the whole roof, except on the master, on the bedroom. There was one bedroom in there. He had draped a piece of plastic over where his little new daughter was the only dry place in the house. I got to hold her about an hour after she was born. She was probably one of the most beautiful children I have ever seen. Her name was Marjorie, and I have a picture of her a little bit later on. So we started building schools because you have to educate people. Educated people can make better decisions about government and so on. So this was one of our early schools. It's not a great school, but we had about 400 students go there. And we started building bigger schools for high school students to try and catch up with things so you can see some of the process that we went through. Eventually, because we were taking more and more people down there to help, we needed a place to stay ourselves. So we built this building down there, kind of a dormitory, and we lined the top of it with solar panels to be able to have electricity and so on, to take care of people that we could take down there. Many people were afraid at that time to come to Haiti. There was lots of bugs, spiders, all kinds of stuff, rats all over the place, and so we needed a place that was a little more secure for people. In order to be able to recruit a medical team, you have to have something decent for them to stay in. So the Haitian people are among the friendliest and most welcoming people to be found anywhere. That's a thing that almost everybody who comes back from Haiti says. Why are these people so happy? Why are they so friendly when they have so little? And you see me there I'm holding little Marjorie after she's about 5 years old. That's her sister Juliet there beside me. Juliet was a Restavec, what they call a Restavec. She was a hired slave to another family, where we tried to rescue her from that. Her brother was Kelly. Kelly, in that picture, is 14 years old. Because of life of malnutrition, he never grew. I just saw him last winter when I was in Haiti, and he's still the same size. He's about 35 now, or maybe even older than that. Natural disasters come at any time. So there's been a lot of natural disasters in Haiti that have affected the country. Floods. One of the great floods happened in Gonaive. If you go back to that map, you think it's on the western coast, kind of in that cup of Haiti. 2 hurricanes nestled in that region for a couple of days. They got 96 inches of rain in 24 hours against the mountains, and that washed down through the city of Gonaive, and there's some of these next photos will show you what that looked like. Took out the bridge, of course, there. Mountains of mud. There were 17,500 people buried in the mud that we had to dig out. Many that we never found because they were washed out into the ocean. This is the devastation of that flood when it went through the town. Came through in a wall of water about roughly 40 feet tall. It just came through the center of the city. And this is pictures that I took when I went down right away to help restore some kind of water system to the city. It was probably the worst trip I ever had to Haiti in terms of, well, up to that point, it was the worst. Going down after the earthquake was a far more challenging story. But this is, again, what happened in Haiti with the floods. We were walking down the street, one of the streets, and you'll see what happens. The devastation was unbelievable. This car was on the street and was full of mud right up to the windows here. I don't know if that shows up well, but that was what was happening. In 2011, Haiti had the first big earthquake. Most of you probably remember that. Remember how the world mobilized to go down and help Haiti. I was down there during that time. This is the hospital we set up in Port-au-Prince to take care of the injured. There were 60,000 people who had amputations during that time. We did many of the amputations right on a piece of plywood, just holding them down. There was no anesthesia. You just held the people down and amputated the legs, arms, whatever was needed to be cut off. Either that or they died from gangrene set in. You see the devastation on the buildings. I'll just run through these few so we can get on to some questions. We set up cities, tent cities, to take care of the people that were homeless. Over 1 million people had no home to live in. There you see again the devastation of the earthquake. It just totally pulverized Port-au-Prince, literally leveled every building or destroyed every building. We used to put, when I first went down there after the earthquake, we put toothpaste under our nose here so that it would cover the smell of death. The smell was all around and you couldn't work in that. You put that toothpaste there and then you'd smell the toothpaste and it'd allow you to go in and do the work that had to be done. This slideshow I've used in other places, so this next slide is just showing that's my hand up there when I had an accident down there in Haiti. I was working on top of a hospital roof, and the Haitian that I had holding the ladder, he left, got a whatever, and I came tumbling off of the roof and broke my wrist and back and knee and a few other things. But so I had a fixator on there because my wrist was completely shattered. And so I went back down to Haiti because I couldn't work up here during that time. So I had that on while I was down there, and I would always, the people would say, "Well, what is that?" I say, "Oh, it's my telephone." I think I'm getting a call right now, I tell them. So we just use it for the humor of it anyway. So more recently, I started working at a Catholic mission, primarily because of the way they were dealing with the school kids. And it was a good thing to support. This is a Catholic priest there and some of the students that he has at his school. We have about 18 or 1900 students at that school. It's the only school that's open in Haiti right now. And open air classrooms that we've built there to help them out. It's nothing to have, 60, 70, 80 kids in a classroom in Haiti with one teacher. They're perfectly behaved. It's probably quite a bit different than it would be back here. They want to be in school. They behave very well. You don't need all kinds of teachers' aides and so on. But there are no books. They don't have any books or anything to help them with that. So everything is done orally or on a blackboard. We make our own blackboards there, with just a blackboard paint. So we do all that stuff to try and help out there. It's been a great privilege working down there over the years. One of the programs that we started, I wish we had a little more time for all this, but was a Mothers Club program where we get the mothers together and we give them, because many of them are very ambitious and have husbands that are gone or dead or whatever. We give them a loan of $150, and then they can go and buy some goods. Like they might buy a bolt of cloth and remake that into shirts that they sell to the market, or they buy a sack of rice and then they divvy it up in smaller portions and sell it, and that's how they make a living to take care of their families. So we do that Mothers Club program. We have probably 800 or more clubs, mothers clubs, that we do that with down there in Haiti. That's a way we can help bring some commerce back and some opportunity. The thing you can't do in Haiti is you can't do everything for them. The people are very proud. They want to help themselves. But if you go in there and you do it for them, it actually ends up injuring them. You have to work with them and help them to better themselves. We found that out in the hard way in a lot of the things that we did to help them. They never would take care of them because they had no part in it. So now when we go to work in Haiti, we do it completely different. We always have them with us so that they are working with us so that they own what we do. It's especially true of drilling wells. We've drilled several thousand wells in Haiti to try and get fresh water and clean water in there, and that's made an enormous difference in the death rate. It's down below 10% now with kids, which is a big drop from 50%. all those things that we've had to learn in working with the Haitian people. We started scholarship programs. Some of you have seen so that kids could get back into school because they have to charge a little bit of tuition. Some of you will see this, especially around Christmas time. You see these ads on the news and on TV that if you donate $13 or $15 a month, they'll put a kid in school. Have any of you seen any of them? Okay, that's pretty common. Those programs, we would never do a program like that in Haiti. Okay, the reason for it is it takes the parents out of the picture. So it's some American back here who's communicating with that child, and that child's allegiance will be drawn to that parent. He will almost abandon his own parents because he would say to his folks, "You're not my mom and dad. This American is, because he's taking care of me, or she is taking care of me." So you can see the damage that can be done. Does that make sense? Okay, so what we do, we don't run a scholarship program. We give the family some money so that the family can put that child in school. So that child's in school knowing he's there because of his parents. And that keeps that family intact, and that is one of the things that help. So be cautious when you're giving to those programs. Make sure they're not injuring the families or creating issues in the culture that they're done. I'm not saying all those programs are bad. I'm just saying anytime you're working with the poor or helping them, we have to be very careful that we don't injure them. Okay? One of the things that happened, just another thing before we get to questions here, after the big earthquake in 2011, we sent in all this rice. We're giving free rice to everybody. Well, what do you think happened to the farmers who were growing rice in Haiti? They couldn't sell their rice because everybody was getting it free. So that whole rice market collapsed. We ended up ruining the food production in Haiti through our help. Okay, that's the kind of thing we have to be careful of whenever we intersect a third world culture or are working with the poor. We can destroy them with our work, with our efforts. So it's very important that they are included, that they're listed up, that the family unit is encouraged, that we not destroy what we're trying to help. So that was I think probably been the biggest challenge in working in Haiti, is to do it in a way that really helps, without injuring the people there. That's one of the lessons I've learned over the years. But we got time for some questions. My hearing isn't real good, so you might have to speak loudly, or maybe they will have a microphone that you can speak with. So,
Jim, thank you so much for your service and for sharing with us. I really appreciate it. If anyone has any questions, now's a great time. I'm going to be running the mic around, so who's first? I know some of you have had the opportunity to serve in Haiti as well. Emma.
What was like your calling to go to Haiti to help these people? Because I know sometimes people like have this not need, but this want to help people. So I was wondering, what was like your moment for you when you decided to go help?
okay, well, because my hearing isn't very good, somebody asked me if I would go to Haiti with them, and I thought he said Tahiti. So, no, I'm just kidding. But I've always wanted to help people, and when I was asked to go, I didn't even think about it. I just went. I just thought, here's an opportunity. My mistake was going the first time. Okay, you fall in love with the place, and you realize that. I came home and I told my wife, I said, I should have never went because I know I'm going to spend a lot of time there, because it fit the skills that I had. I knew I could make a difference there, and I knew I would be a better person being around them. So that's what got me started in it, and that's true for everybody. Everybody who's served down there has come back a better person. It's not so much, they end up helping us. They help us to be the best that we could be. So once you figure that out, it's easy to serve, even with the challenges. I'm going to be leaving for there in about 3 weeks again, assuming we can get in, if things have settled down enough so we can get in without, I don't want to get kidnapped. I always tell people, if I get kidnapped, nobody will pay the ransom, so that's why I'll be stuck. But anyway, good question. Thank you.
there's a lot of organizations working in Haiti, and I'm curious, how do you coordinate your efforts so you don't have people stepping over each other trying to do the same work? Avoiding the redundancy of effort rather than combining your resources to have a bigger impact.
Jason, could you repeat that a little bit there so I can?
Yes, sir, of course. Bob was asking, how do you prevent the duplication of effort if there's so many groups in Haiti serving? How do you coordinate your efforts or ensure that you're not duplicating efforts?
Okay. There are about 800 nonprofits working in Haiti, okay? Unfortunately, many of them don't accomplish much. That's just the fact of the matter. It just works that way. We collaborate with a number of those organizations, but we collaborate with organizations that have the same focus as we do, that are there to not do everything for the people, but to help train them and to do those things. So we collaborate with a number of organizations like that. There are a lot of organizations in Haiti, unfortunately, that end up doing more damage than good. So that's what happens there. We're one of the only 2 listed organizations in Haiti that the government approves of. And they approve of us because of how we work with the people. So we are an NGO, what we call a non-government organization in Haiti that's approved by the Haitian government. So they will ask us to help them with certain things. When that flood took place in Gonaive, they actually got a hold of me and asked me if I could come down and help them restore water there. So we've developed a relationship with the government so that we can work with them as much as possible. But that's a good question. It's one of the frustrations that I've had over the years in working with Haiti is the organizations that don't accomplish anything. And frankly, some organizations are more concerned about their image back here. I can tell you this, and it's not pretty, but I've had people from different organizations take pictures of the work that we've done and use it to promote fundraising for themselves. That happens. That's the sad nature of it. So we just have to be very careful in who we support and how we do that. There's a lot of good things happening in Haiti through this, but there's also a lot of damage being done, unfortunately. So hope that answers your question.
Mr. Kirzeder, 2 questions. Is your brother Joel? And the second one, are they actively planting trees in Haiti?
Is my brother Joe? Yeah, if you don't hold that against me, I'll admit to that. Okay. Yeah. No, he's my only brother, and I love him dearly. Yeah. We are planting all the time in Haiti. Yeah. It unfortunately, the only fuel that the Haitians have in the rural areas is charcoal. So they have to. Our trees get about day high and they cut them off. So it's really hard, but we're planting all the time down there. So we found a tree. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but it comes from I think the Philippines, and it's very fast growing. So it can actually grow about this big in a matter of a year or so. So it's just a massive growing tree. That has helped us out a lot because when they cut it down, at least they can get a lot of fuel out of it. So, but Haiti has no fuel source at all. There's no oil, there's no natural gas, no propane. So everything has to be shipped in. So good question there, though. So.
We're going to go to a student question online. Isaiah asks, aside from wells, are there other ways water is purified or made available for drinking in a village?
Okay, we do a lot of, there's two answers to that question. There's a lot of springs in Haiti that are coming out of the mountains there. So we do a lot of what we call a spring cap around those to protect the source of the water. And then we bring a pipe out of that and we can direct that pipe down to a community that can use the water. If you don't do that, the animals, donkeys and cows and stuff are drinking in there and the water gets contaminated. So we do a lot of spring work, which is a natural flow of water. The other thing that we can do is I do a lot of, like at orphanages, I'll put in a ultraviolet lighting system that we run the water through, and that purifies the water too. So you can take pretty dirty water, but there's no massive purification plants in Haiti. So it's not uncommon to see somebody drink out of a mud puddle. I mean, they're desperate. And of course, we had a guy one time, we got stuck in the river, and he was out pushing the car, and when the wheel spun, it spun up some of the water into his nose. He ended up in intensive care, almost died from it. There's that many microbes in the water. So pure water is a big factor in Haiti. So that's kind of what we do. So the best thing is we try to get a well for every 2,000 people that are down there, so that about 2,000 people can use one well site. And then they hand pump. It's all hand pumps. There's no electricity. So it takes them 5 minutes to pump a 5-gallon bucket, but that gives them fresh, clean water. So
We still have time for several more questions.
Hi, Jim. Nice to see you. What is your experience, like your personal experience that you bring? I don't remember hearing you say.
Oh, I'm a contractor back here. So I build back here and then do the same thing down there. So I've been a teacher and principal of school, and I've done different things over the years, but I'm primarily a builder. So build lots of homes. I didn't mention that or show that, but we did for a number of years build a lot of homes in Haiti. But there was issues with that too, because if you go into an area and you build one family a home, everybody else living in these dirt homes, you can hurt the community, you know. So we had to be very careful with that. And what we started doing was that we would ask the community to pick out 5 families that were most in need and that they thought deserved the home. So then they participated in it. Then they would build with us, and we'd build those homes in that area. That alleviated some of that. So we built hundreds of homes down there.
What about construction materials? Are you able to get all the construction materials you need for that?
Well, originally, most of the homes we built were like that one that you saw there. We used sticks and mud and thatched roofs when we first started. And now most of our homes we build out of actual cement blocks. So the home is much more secure, can handle the wind and rain. And we put a regular rafter over it, and then use a tin on the roofs. So that would be the typical home right now. We probably put in about 800 of those homes, you know, but the need is still. If we built 1 million homes, we would still everybody wouldn't be living in a good home yet. So that's how big the need is. Go ahead.
On your own, how much does it cost to drill a well?
Well, it keeps going up. Right now, the cost of drilling a well, because we have to ship in everything, the piping, the pump comes from India. We don't make pumps in this country that can hand pump up from 300-400 feet. And if the well averages 200 to 300 feet, we're going to have about $8,000 to $10,000 into that well with the fuel costs and stuff. So that's about what it takes. When I first went down there, we could drill a well for about $2,500, but those costs, because of shipping and all the stuff that it entails. We do have about 4 well drilling trucks there now, you know, that we bought and shipped down there. But each of those costs $250,000 to get in there to the country. So that's what makes those things kind of expensive to do.
And what is the name of the organization you work with?
Pardon?
What is the name of your organization?
Haiti Outreach. Yeah.
We have time for one more question. We got a student over here.
I can answer yours.
Addie, go right ahead.
How bad did COVID-19 affect the Haitian people? And are they still struggling with that now?
You might have to repeat that, Jason.
Great question, Addie. She asks, how did COVID-19 affect the Haitian people, and are they still suffering today?
Okay, I was down there during the COVID thing there. It really didn't affect the country at all, because they were so used to all kinds of viruses and stuff. They're exposed to so much, and if you look on the different websites of COVID, we'll find that farm kids had less severe COVID. Why was that? Well, because they're exposed to so many things in the farm environment. Almost every Haitian is exposed to all kinds of viruses, you know, so it really didn't affect the country at all. I honestly never found one person there that I know suffered from COVID. But if they did, their symptoms were very light, like a cold or cough or whatever. But we lost I don't know of anybody that we lost down there. It may have happened in the big cities a little more, but that was what happened in Haiti. The worst thing about the COVID thing was you had to get a negative test to come out of there. And when I got down there, I didn't know that, and there's no place to get a negative test. So I had to buy one on the black market. You know, it just you do what you got to do, but that's a long story. But yeah, they handled that very well. I mean, they're dealing with typhoid and malaria and there's a big outbreak now of cholera down there. We lost about 10,000 people 5 years ago to cholera that was brought in by the UN. So the people develop a huge immunity. If they've lived until they're 10 years old, they have a lot of immunity from being all the exposure. Okay.
Jim, I just have a question. I actually was in Haiti in 2017, and what struck me when I was there is that the mounds of garbage is all over, like Port-au-Prince. Do you know how they take care of their sanitation or how they take care of the garbage?
Okay. Jason, could you repeat that for me? Just so I make sure I got the right question.
Yeah, absolutely. She's asking about solid waste management in the capital in particular. When she was there in 2017, she saw mounds of solid waste and garbage throughout the capital, and she's wondering how that's dealt with.
Okay. It's not. There's no sewer system there anymore in the capital city. The waste is pushed out into the ocean. The dump, that becomes future homes for people. The poor live on top of the dump. City Soleil, we call it City of the Sun. There are tens of thousands of Haitians living on the dump. My first year in Haiti, my first trip to Haiti, was I'd promised my wife I wouldn't go to Port-au-Prince because she had read about it and thought it's too dangerous. So I told her I won't go there. I'm just going to be up in the northern part of the country. I was in Haiti about 2 hours, and they asked me if I would go to the capital city and buy some supplies for them. So within 2 hours, I was on my way to Port-au-Prince. It was my first experience with Port-au-Prince. I went to City Soleil. What I saw there on that first trip was, well, I still can hardly talk about it. The number of kids that were living in cardboard boxes and sleeping with the pigs and hogs, it was unbelievable. I knew I'd been to hell and back. That's how I felt. If there's a hell on earth, it had to be right there. Yeah, there's no sewer system functioning anymore in Haiti. All that goes out into the ocean. And from the air around Haiti, you see this black all around the ocean. It all goes into the ocean.
Well, I suspect Jim would be willing to stick around and field some additional questions for those of you that have time or interest. But please join me in giving Jim a huge warm welcome for his service and time today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank all of you for joining us today. I really appreciate you being here. We're going to have Cultural Thursday next semester as well. The first one is the first Thursday of February. And I look forward to seeing you all here in the Chalberg Theater then. Thank you so much.